Hello my friends! If you're new here, my name is Rachel and welcome to the channel, and if you are returning, hi, welcome back. It is so nice to see you again. Now before we jump into today's speed build, there are a couple of little things that I feel like I need to talk about, but the first thing that I want to mention is that if my audio sounds off or doesn't sound quite the same, it's because I'm actually in a different location. I usually record my voiceovers at home, but I am currently at my parents' house, and the reason for this is that my internet is broken. This is also the reason for this extended intro, because I just want to talk to you guys about that really quick. Of course, I am a content creator and my livelihood and this channel is completely based off of the internet, so to not have any in my apartment is quite debilitating. But all of that aside, I love the speed build. I think this whole area turned out beautifully, but I had envisioned this video looking a lot different. Originally, I was going to include an entire other area in this speed build. We were going to finish out the left side of Pottsfield and include the Halloween neighborhood, a residential beach, as well as the Woodsman's Forest and the old grist mill from over the garden wall, which would have completed this whole left side of the island. But I was not able to include the Woodsman's Forest, sadly, and it's not an issue of creativity. I have the entire area built and I have the entire area recorded as well. I just can't upload my footage onto Canva because of course I don't have any internet at the moment and I can't lug my PC over to my parents' house, so I had to instead cut this video short to be able to get it out on time. And I do apologize because I just feel like my production quality has gone down, especially in the Halloween video. I wasn't really able to make any cute edits or add any pictures or sounds, which makes me really sad because I wanted that video to be so much better. The Halloween video was made right when my internet broke, so I've been struggling with this for quite a while. Regardless though, this issue is just temporary. I just wanted to kind of keep you guys in the loop and let you know what I have going on and why the videos have been a bit on the shorter side lately, but we will get this resolved soon. My partner and I will be moving into a new apartment over the next couple of weeks, so do just be patient with me as I try to get this stuff figured out. I know at the end of the day that you guys are going to love this video regardless because you're all just so amazing, and I just constantly get such a wave of unending support from you guys, which I really do appreciate. I feel such an outpouring of love from this community. You guys are all just such wonderful people and I really do appreciate every single subscribe and like that you guys give. I read all of the comments and I try to respond to all of them if I can, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of keep you guys in the loop. But now that this rant is over, we can go straight into the speed build. Here we are in the neighborhood and we are beginning with Bunny's house. We're starting off the build by giving her this adorable little side garden that I decided to outfit with some orange lilies as well as the cutest little bunny decoration. And now, while this entire neighborhood is supposed to be Halloween themed, I also wanted to make sure that I still emphasized each villager's personality. So since Bunny is a peppy villager, I decided to give her her own little like red moped. I felt like that would be definitely something that a peppy villager would drive, but I'm also going through and adding a collection of different pumpkin decor just to really emphasize that these villagers have decorated for Halloween. But in theme with trying to emphasize every villager, I decided to give Bunny a little outdoor dining spot that has a piece of carrot cake that she can munch on because of course she is a rabbit. I thought that was kind of cute. And I also decided to extend her home outward with this little outdoor pergola area. I thought it could be cool to make the home look bigger than it actually is and give it a bit more character, since all of the villager homes in game are technically the same, and so I wanted to try to give them different characteristics. But now I'm just adding a couple of more items in this backyard area, like another bunny statue as well as some trees, some bushes, and some utility poles. So I wanted to add some more bunny statues because I really liked the idea of Bunny kind of like having this congregation of bunnies from the local forest that come and hang out at her house, because maybe she gives out like little treats to the bunnies or something like that, because of course she herself is a bunny. Maybe it's a little weird because she's technically sentient and these other bunnies aren't, but whatever, we're not going to think about that. But I'm just going through and cluttering up this area with some vegetation to help make it seem like a more seamless transition between the neighborhood and the Woodsman's Forest that will be up above. And now we're just moving down to this little middle area. My thought process behind this spot was going through and giving a little trick-or-treating station, because I've noticed that in a lot of neighborhoods nowadays, people tend to have folding out tables that are covered with candy bowls instead of having kids come up to their door. And while I personally prefer the good old-fashioned way of trick-or-treating, I just thought that this was like a really really cute little Halloween centerpiece. I was originally going to have trees lining this road, but I just really like how this spot turned out. But now we're moving on to Teddy's house, where I've gone through and extended his home with a storefront. I'm now setting up a tape deck that is playing Mr. KK for him because it is his favorite song. It's not the song that I would have chosen for him, but it's the one that he chose for himself, so we have to include it. I'm also including some different jock-themed furniture pieces, such as the football as well as the barbell, because of course Teddy is a jock villager, so I feel like it's pretty important to include pieces that he would actually want to have in his front yard. I try to keep this in mind whenever I decorate villagers' homes, both inside and out, to try and include different items that they would appreciate, just because I feel like it helps with the inspiration behind the build, and as well as kind of giving some different personality to the areas. When I go through and do these neighborhoods, I try to make sure that I have a good balance of personal items alongside items that I just know that I want to use in the area, such as these spooky pumpkins. Of course, this is a Halloween themed neighborhood, so it's important for me to include as many jack-o'-lanterns as I can, but this is also Teddy's house, so I want to make sure that I have some active type of fitness equipment that Teddy can use, because of course he is going to be hanging out a lot in this spot. I've actually caught him already hanging out in this area. I can pop a picture on the screen right here of him doing some bicep curls outside of his house. I thought it was so cute seeing him do this. I actually posted it to my Instagram because it was just so adorable. But Teddy has the fitness hobby, which means that he is more likely to do some exercises around town, like most jock villagers. And for those of you who don't know, Animal Crossing villagers of course have their personality type, but they also have a hobby that they like to partake in that will actually affect their actions around the island. So fitness hobby villagers will go through and work out in tracksuits more often, but villagers like Bunny, for example, have the fashion hobby, which means that she's more likely to get dressed up in cute little outfits and walk around the island, as well as hanging out in the Able Sisters. So I try to decorate based off of that as well. But now we have officially moved on to the final area in the neighborhood, which is the house at the end of the street, and this house is owned by B, who is the secondary villager on the island. Originally I was going to give B an introduction in this video, but of course I just did not have the capability to include it, so I will have to save her introduction for a later date. But the main inspiration for her house is possibly a universal experience, or possibly just something that I grew up with, but in the neighborhood that I grew up in, there was a house at the end of the street that was so much bigger than all the other houses, and whenever Halloween came around, they would decorate like crazy. It was known as the haunted house in the neighborhood because they would actually convert their garage into a little homemade haunted house with all of these really scary animatronics, and they would have people jump out at you, and if you could make it all the way through their garage, you would get full-size candy bars, which now that I'm saying that in the year 2023, I realize just how unsafe that is to be walking into a stranger's garage. But it was also the early 2000s. It was a different time. I guess stuff like that was just like normal back then. But I kind of wanted to base B's house off of that as well. I wanted to give a little haunted mansion vibe without it being too obvious that it was a haunted house, so instead I just decided to pile up as many pumpkin items as I could. You saw there that I added a bit of a faux garage off to the side. Now I am running out of design codes that I can fill in my design slots. I'm saving a couple of them for some future ones that I know I want to have, but I am running out of spaces, so I kind of have to reuse the design codes that I currently have. So I just went through and used the plank code that I have on some simple panels and layered it with some kind of like door cutouts that I have downloaded, and it kind of gives this illusion of a vintage garage from like the 1970s. I think back then garages were more so made out of wood, at least on the house that my parents live in, which used to be original to the late 60s, early 70s. They had a completely wooden garage, so I'm kind of basing it off of that. I feel like it fits, especially at least with the color scheme, so I am cool with it looking like that. I think you can kind of tell what it's supposed to be. But now off to the side here, I just decided to add some pumpkin plants that will grow in, and I feel like they'll fill that area in really nicely, as well as adding some actual pumpkin statues and this cutout standee that has a pumpkin painted on it. I thought it kind of looked like a fence, like maybe B went through and kind of like decorated the fence with a painting for Halloween or something. Maybe that's a little too extra, but I still think it looks really cute. And now I'm just going through and filling up this side area with more foresty items to kind of fill out this transitional space. Of course, Pom Pom is very interested in what I've got going on. but I'm just finishing out the area with a spooky arch, which this is my first time being able to use a spooky arch, and I don't know why, but using them in the green option was just so nice in this area. I definitely went through and added a lot more green pumpkins than I usually do, or at least more than I have in my previous builds. But I was just struggling with trying to make sure that the yellow and the orange weren't too repetitive, so I feel like having these pops of green kind of helps it stand out a little bit more. Let me know what you guys think though, because of course that is always something that could change. I don't know if the classic orange would look better in this area, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down below. But now I'm just going through and adding the final touches with some flowers. I'm going through and now adding some leaf piles, and that is pretty much it for this main street area before we move on to the next part. So now that the neighborhood is complete, we can move on to this side area next to Teddy's house that also includes a private beach and a terraformed cliff/tiny pond. Now originally I had featured myself building this whole area out with the cliffs as well as the pathing, but when I was editing the footage, it was back when I thought that I could include the woodsman's cottage, so to help cut back on time, I had gotten rid of that footage, and I kind of regret it because this video would have been so much longer if I had kept it. But I am curious to hear from you guys if including pathing in my videos is something that you would like to see. Of course, I did that in the first couple videos on the channel, but those videos are also some of my longest. And so if you're okay with longer videos that feature me placing down the pathing, just let me know because I would love to hear your feedback. But this area originally was going to feature Vesta's house. If you saw my casual chat/planning video that I posted a couple of weeks ago where we went through and talked about the layout for Pottsfield, then you'll know that this area was originally going to house Vesta, but when I went through and actually built the area out, I realized it was pretty small and I wanted to give Vesta a bigger area. I've also done some thinking about her house and decided that I could do something a bit more over the garden wall themed, so you'll see that in the future. But now I'm just working on this little community garden area that is full of carrots and flowers. Maybe it's a little spot that Teddy and Bunny work on together. I'm also just filling out this little foresty area with different items like the wheat fields and some fallen logs. You'll also see off to the side that I included a mini pumpkin patch. If you're curious about how I did that, you can see something very similar in my over the garden wall themed pumpkin patch video. It's a lot of the same stuff, just pumpkin items and pumpkin plants as well as some weeds and some flowers. But now I'm just going through and enclosing in this little community garden. I love the idea of a shared space for Bunny and Teddy, which is also where the idea for this picnic came along. I loved putting the picnic together for the apple orchard, so I wanted to do a second one over here, but do it more so with two actual villagers in mind. I know I had mentioned Kiki and Vesta in the apple orchard picnic build, but this one of course is definitely for Bunny and Teddy, so I wanted to go through and outfit the actual picnic with things that they would enjoy, and so I went through and decided to add a carrot cake, of course, which I feel like kind of has that drawback to Bunny's house where she has that piece of carrot cake outside. I also have these cushions which are usable, so if you come and visit the island you can actually sit on them. I also decided to add a little apple juice carton for Teddy as well as some different fitness items. I love how this whole spot turned out. I think that this picnic blanket is so stinking cute. I found it on Pinterest and I absolutely love it. I think it is adorable. But I'm just going through and adding these different little fitness items for Teddy, like the kettlebell as well as this little handheld barbell, which I love so much. I think it's so cute how tiny it is, and I love how it's kind of on an angle so it doesn't look like it's all just like straight items that were just like put down in perfect spots like the actual little dumbbell looks like it was kind of just like dropped and left there, which I love. So maybe Bunny and Teddy just come here to hang out in the afternoon times when they are all finished working on the garden or something. I think that's so cute. I see them hanging out all the time, so having them be neighbors just I feel like makes so much sense. I definitely did not expect them to be friends, but they seem to always be chatting with each other and I just love to interact with them. I think it's so cute. But now I'm just going through and kind of having the beach blend in better with this forested area by adding some wheat fields. You also saw that I went through and added a barrel that has another gyroid on it. I will admit this gyroid is a little bit annoying. It is the 𝒷𝓊𝓃𝓃𝓎, so whenever you hear him, he is just shaking around like crazy. So I don't know, I might change him out for a more mild gyroid, but I do think it's kind of cute. I feel like it kind of ties in those red themes that we have going on in the blanket as well as the parasol parasol, but I really like how this little beach area turned out. The last spot that we're going to work on in this video is this area right here, which is this pond side. When I was working on Bee's house, you could see I had a weird thing going on with the terraforming, but I just went through and cleaned that up. I was going to have some stepping stones in the pond, but I just decided to leave it natural. I think it looks really, really pretty. But my intention for this area was to originally make a pumpkin carving station, but it didn't really look quite how I wanted it to. So instead, I decided to add a laundry spot. When in doubt, add a place for laundry. I'm going through and layering a clothesline with the storage shed in more of a damaged kind of design because I feel like it looks like maybe it has actually been sitting outside for a long time. And now I'm going through and placing a project table, and on top of that we're having an old wash tub where maybe Teddy and Bunny are washing their clothes, as well as folding them right next to it. And now we're just adding the last couple of items in this area, and I just cannot believe how cute this whole spot turned out. I absolutely love it, and I hope you do too. And without further ado, let's go ahead and see the beauty shots. Alrighty my friends, that is everything for the speed build as well as the beauty shots. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed how everything turned out in the end. I would love to hear what your favorite spot was that we worked on together today, and I just can't wait to get things back to normal so I can get back to my usual video productions and uploads. I do apologize once again for this video being a bit on the shorter side. I just need a little bit of patience as I try to figure out my current situation and get moved into a new apartment, which will hopefully be soon. I am still very excited to get somewhere new and get the place decorated and my setup figured out. So just once again, a little bit of patience while I try to navigate this very hectic and chaotic time in my life. But you all are so amazing, so I know no matter what, at the end of the day, you guys are going to support me, which I just really love and appreciate. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Do remember to leave a like on the video, as well as comment down below what your favorite spot was, and don't forget to subscribe for future Animal Crossing content, as well as hitting the notification bell to get notified of all future uploads. I will still have a video up next Sunday no matter what, so do stay tuned, and I will see you guys again next week.